me share my screen real quick. All right. Here is ye ol' public draft example. So this season we're going to be going with a budget snake draft system. So here are your drafters. Let's actually just clear this with some wonderful fake names and fake ranks that I've created semi based on what we currently have in signups. So pretty much the criteria for, or how the draft's going to work. We have our captains. Lowest rank captain is going to have choice on where in the draft they'd like to pick. So for example, here Beef Chicken is the lowest ranked captain, and they chose that they want to opt for the first overall pick so that they can do that. Gives a little bit more control over where some captains might feel that they have an advantage, rather than just going in reverse order. Kind of got the feedback that if you are towards the end, then you had the first pick of the tier 2s and stuff like that. So, reverse or budget system, each team must get to 15. Every player has a point value from 0 all the way to 9-ish. We're still playing around with these numbers and how to separate people between tiers and everything. But to start, the captain gets their own value. This is determined by peak rank, as well as that is still the core value that we're going off of is what your peak rank is since 13.2, and then it's going to adjust up and down based on things like champ pool. For example, like if you're, I'll just say it, like the Jace one trick, right, who hit D1, he probably shouldn't be valued as a D1 player. So it'd probably knock him down a couple or up a couple of points, rather than something like a 2 or 2.5, probably knock him up to a 3. But so let's say Beef Chicken has his first pick. He wants to take Faker, challenger player for 0. Still at 5. After all of your picks are done, you have to be at least 15. So you can start off by taking, the GMs. You can take Brawny, bumps this person up to a 4, so on and so forth. We're still going to snake it, but really there's going to be 4 rounds of drafting. Let me pop this up. Beef Chicken, my beloved. It's going to go down, kind of give you guys a rundown. Let's say Savage, a D4 player, they're going to take 69 Greg. They're like, I love this guy. He's the GOAT. I want to lock in my my value pick early, my G1 GOAT. And then it has a budget to play around a 5 with to fill out the rest. So let's say, for example, they want to take Jordan to bring him up to 10.5, and then Yelp to bring it up to 13, and then round it out with this guy to make it 15. So that'd be a valid team because you got to 15. So obviously you get a little bit of a disadvantage when you start to take players in the GM, Challenger, Masters ranks. You're gonna have to balance it out with gold, bronze, iron, some platinum players, just to make sure that you get to 15. And we're playing around with some rules. We're mock drafting this quite a bit. Me, Array, Mid-Tweezy, and PyPy are playing around with this. We're potentially looking at making it so that you have to be at 8 by the time, but after your third pick. There were some worries that, like, let's say, for example, Tiger Woods was able to go like KD, Steve Nash here, and then like Inter 420 got taken here, and Sona Goat got taken here. There's no possible way to get to 15, so we're gonna have to implement some kind of rules to make it so that you can, or that you're at least part of the way there by your third pick. So players of all ranks are going to be taken in the first 2 rounds. It's not just going to be the challengers and the GMs and the Masters players taken first. I assume that like people like Brissy will be taken early. Um, Stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, it's a fairly simple system. Um, count to 15 based on rank or based on the point values that each player has associated with them, and get to 15. There's your team. Um, yeah, Injustice. I
Hello,
don't know if that was on purpose. What's up?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you explain to why the number system is so low for the higher ranks versus it being the other way?
Like, why isn't a high rank person ranked like 20 or whatever?
Yeah,
Or
I think
yeah,
the chart was like a point 0.5 for like those for like I think it's Ringmaster.
yeah.
This was
Because you have to get to 15, at least 15. So it's like a count up system. It's kind of basing it off of like the tier system. We thought about doing like a budget where you have 15 to spend, but it got a little bit confusing with like saying that you have to spend at least 15, so it's easier to say, yeah, it's easier to just go higher ranked people have a low point value, low ranked people have a high point value. So, for example, I mean, if you just rip the bronze player on your team, um, then you're at a pretty good spot to just take GMs and masters from their player on. Kind of creates like a very, very weak point um, to balance out the very strong points. Does that answer your question?
yeah, it does.
Cool. Going to practice. Oh God, can you type it out? I'm so bad. I'll bring it up. Whatever.
So I know you kind of like just explained this, but like, so it's snake draft. So if you're like first pick, and you need, let's say on your last pick, you need someone who's 5 points, right?
Yeah.
And what if hypothetically every other person just drafted everyone off the board that's above those points? Then what?
Mhm. Yeah. So we're playing around with point systems and kind of like the 8 point system after round 3 to try to kind of make it so that that can't happen or is less likely to happen. There might be a case where like literally the last pick of the draft, let's say they're at 10, and this pick there's only 4.5s left is like the highest value left. It might be a case where some teams at a 14.5, but trying to make it so that like half a point isn't like a crazy difference in player. But yeah, definitely playing around with that. Still, there's still work to do. Not like we're not finalized with anything for that. But yeah,
Does that
it's
not
definitely a major discussion of like what do we do if this isn't possible.
make it a very strong advantage for low point drafters, and then just picking a bunch of high low players off the bat?
If let's say for example, yeah, you can't do this, right? Tiger Woods can't draft KD, can't draft Steve Nash because you have to beat 8 points by your third pick,
Hmm.
including yourself. So no inherent advantage of higher ranked drafters.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
You
Oh,
invited me back.
all right. Oh, Keith.
Okay, so my question is, what's the point of reversing the value draft system rather than just keeping like a draft system, making higher players worth more of your budget rather than like, you know, cheaper players being more of your budget? Wouldn't that essentially, in the scenario you just said about the 14.5? would it not be in a team's best interest to try to game the system as much as possible and get as low of players as early, so that you have to put in like a 4.5 in place of a 5 or a 4 in place of a 5 to make that 15?
I'm not sure if just like reversing number system would resolve that.
Well, I mean, just saying, like, you
Like
have
if
a
this
budget
was the
of
9.
yeah, if you have a budget
is-
of like, you can make a team with $15 and every player is worth a certain dollar amount.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially the same thing, but you have to spend at least $15.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's confusing that way, then yeah, I can work on flipping it. There is a discussion that way as well within the balance team.
No, it was just a
Yeah.
question of like, why did you guys decide that way?
Yeah.
The-
So essentially, I looked at everybody and then put them in tiers, like last draft, and then was like, well, challenger player would be like tier 0, GMs are like tier 0.5, masters tier 1, tier 2, and like so on and so forth, and then like a bronze player would be like tier 9, and then just like associated numbers with those. And I was like, well, if the team of 5 diamonds, could they compete against like other teams if like balanced the other way around, and kind of played around with that to see if that was possible, and yeah, it seemed to work out alright. Running a lot of mock drafts. Players, is that all you had, Keith?
Yeah.
Okay. Are players based purely off solo queue? No. System more accurately depicts what separates Summit from other leagues, getting over. Okay. Yeah, not just solo queue. I mean, obviously they're going to look into like players and like what they play. I mean, super easy to use the Jace one trick as an example, like him being D1. He's not a D, like wouldn't be worth a D1 spend in a league like Summit, in a competitive league, but yeah, previous Summit experience and success will bump a player down in point value. Strand, for example, wouldn't be valued at like Plat 3, probably more towards Plat 1, Emerald 4. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like yes, draft date has been announced. It is October 12th. Trying to be as objective with it as possible. And trying to take in everything into account, and using kind of for people who don't agree with each other very often, actually. The balanced team chat is kind of us yelling at each other, trying to understand each other, and get our point across. So it's very uncommon for us to agree on things right off the bat. So if you think that it's just going to be me thinking Jason did too good this season, so he's going to go from a D1 to GM value, like that's not going to happen. What does it take to make yourself more draftable? Should I get a haircut before draft? Yeah. Usually people draft solely on looks. So if you're a little cutie patootie, you're way more than likely to get drafted. Hence why like Brissy gets drafted first pretty much every season. All right, quit calling yourself ugly. I think that this super high teams, what makes some great is having players across all skill levels playing on team rather than 4 players high diamond and then 1 low tier player. I think that there's like not enough players for 12 teams for them to all like for like one team to be able to for every team to be able to just like stack heavy high and then draft a bronze player. Like that, there's just not enough players in like D plus for that to happen. Like the average player now in some it's like D4, D3. So we're kind of playing around with like that idea. The rank value is going to be linear. I think a non-linear point value might help reduce the no points problem. No, it definitely scales higher towards the bottom end. What's up, X-Ray?
Okay, so I know Mid to Easiest kind of said about this, but for captains, are they going to be able to have a chance to like swap positions for like say a round?
Yeah. So for example, if like Thomas wants to like trade this pick with I'm just looking to be able to get somebody down here rather than here, yeah, that's totally fine. I don't know in this kind of system whether or not we'll see any of that. I think last like tier-based drafting we could have seen something like that where somebody's trading like a tier 4 and a tier 2 pick for a tier 3 and a tier 4 or something like that. But this system I don't see it happening too often.
I have a strange idea for it is since you need to get to 15, maybe it lowers like that person's cost if they want to trade up, like they lose points essentially.
Probably not. Something like a 9. Sorry, one sec. Something like a 941.5.5 would be better than any team made last season. Yeah, too easy. You can speak. Yeah, just invite. Here.
X-Ray actually, what he just said gave me a decent idea
Mhm.
as well. With the trading of draft order, do you think it would be possible for teams to potentially use their budget as like a currency in addition to their draft order? So an example would be if someone increased their minimum budget by 1, or they sold their minimum budget by 1 to another drafter to like significantly change where their picks are. Would that be something we would be open to, or maybe not this
Yeah,
season?
I think we'd have to like mock draft that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely something we could look into.
Nice question, X-Ray.
Yeah. What time allotted is for each traffic? Is this one day? Yeah, we're gonna do it in one day. And yeah, I like what Nico said. It's like based on like every mock draft I did, it's so hard to get multiple 0.5 players. Like they're just gone. Like even with players taking like the high value, like the budget picks, um, it's just like so hard to get 2 GMs on a team unless that GM has like the 12th pick of the draft, and then they're able to grab another one because for some reason people left it open. But then yeah, they have to balance it out with like a 7 cost with their next pick. And then by that time, there's probably not going to be any even master players left. Yeah, I mean we're gonna mock draft the piss out of this. Try to get it so that like the teams are as balanced as possible, and the drafters can't just fuck themselves over. I did not like the 3-day auction draft. Actually, I mean I didn't draft, so I kind of did. But estimated number of players for each role. I don't have that information off the top of my head, but I could get it. I don't have another screen, otherwise I'd pull it up with all the information, but What's one sitting draft? Oh, oh, yeah. I am one screen Andy. I'm between houses right now. Using the funds to go to Europe instead. Yeah, I'll probably be asking for some people that aren't drafting this season to help me out with some mock drafts, just so I can get, like, obviously I have a perception of how this will go. Too Easy has a perception of how this will go. Same with PyPy and Array and KipCap. So gonna try to get to some people who don't draft before, maybe haven't drafted before, and kind of see what kind of picks they would make in a system like this, and then we're going to be able to adjust, kind of create some rules that would kind of prevent things of happening, like no 5 costs being available when a team might need it, stuff like that. Is there enough GM peaks for each team? Close. It's actually really close. Masters plus, yes. GM, not quite. It is pretty nutty. The skill level of Summit is increasing quickly. Yeah, I'll release Jeff Lewis, so it's right here. Here you go. There's only one Brissy though. I know, that's true. I cannot wait for Brissy to go first overall. How many people do we have? We have 54 people signed up, so we need 6 more. Really, for to have enough. Yeah, I mean, you could sign up yourself, Jason. That would help the number. Keegan, huh? You don't know how? Go to important links and there's a season 5 sign up sheet on there. Yeah, I think we're okay with threats here if it includes playing Summit. That's fine. Anybody have any questions about draft? Does it make sense? Am I inting this shit? Is possible if it is possible for a drafter not get to the minimum. Yes, Barbecue Leona. We're discussing it. Kind of, or we're actually trying to make it so that it can't happen, but we're also going to have rules in place in case it does happen. Like, we obviously don't want to reward like a team for drafting like and not spending enough. Like, we don't want a team with 14.5 or 14. Yeah, Too Easy actually just sent a message in there. I missed the explanation, so I don't know. What should I be asking? I'm recording this Ryan right now. So with you, Cooper, and Tubby. So I will post the video eventually. You'll get a spreadsheet with all the players and values a week before, yeah. I might give it to the drafters 2 weeks before. Yeah, I want to give them plenty of time to strategize. And yeah, talk to people. I think captains reaching out to players is pretty important, but yeah, I think the list. Yeah, we got KipCat. He's gonna captain again. We got Nico, Data, Loco, Sprinkler, David, DV4VP, Gator, Gar, Rob, World Soup, Firestorm Boxer, and Strand. These are gonna be our captains. Only one new captain. I'd like to have at least one new one. A new player captain, I guess. He said there's a mistake that he signed up for captain. Oh! Then I'm gonna replace this one. I see the DM up here. Mystery person at number 4. I do know that Array and potentially PyPy want to draft, so I've got plenty of people that signed up to be a drafter, so I'm not too worried about them. I just prefer that if PyPy wasn't, because he's helping me make the system. Yeah, I see that. Just not gonna open our DMs live and in stereo. That's fine. Just ban PyPy. I mean, I've been thinking about that for a long time, so. So 3 weeks from this weekend is the estimated date. 1, 2, 3. No. Actually, I leave for Europe on the 28th. I will post player values and all that. On the 28th with the asterisk that it is able to be adjusted up until draft. So yeah, I'll get it to everybody then. We're using a Crackhead Excel sheet. I'm only gonna care about 14-2 card games. I'm not gonna make everybody play another 20-30 games. In 2 weeks. I think that's stupid. I mean, we'll still go off of like peak peak rank, like if you're plat 4 for your entire life and then season 14-3 you hit emerald 2, like yeah, we're gonna buff you up for that. But yeah, I'm really sorry for having a life, Keith. I gotta go see my brother in Spain. Six-month summit season. Hell no. We are also potentially gonna bring auction back at some point, in a much more balanced way. That's kind of a goal with the balancing team, along with balancing this season. Yeah, I usually have like 50 tabs open of like a league of graphs with each player that signs up. I put in way too much time with this shit. Game requirement is before 1 week or before draft? Before draft. I was lenient with some people too, like I don't think GUI ever got it done. I encourage draft parties. But yeah, if you got your games done for this season, you don't have to play any more games for next season. I mean, you could be like Rob and just stream your draft strategy to everybody. Yeah, you're good, Ryan. You don't have to play anymore. And yeah, for people who are like telling others to sign up for any newcomers, need 30 games played in 14-2 or 14-3, whatever. You can combine those if you want. And then 20 games for returning players who have played a full season in either Summit or still going to honor the VLN for probably one more season. If they played in VLN, going to do 20 games for them as well. But the Miami Dolphins are about to start playing, so I desperately need to go watch that. If anybody has any last minute questions, I will answer them. They're losing. Has the game already started? Oh no. Oh no. I don't know how we're gonna do groups, honestly. Probably 2 groups. I think it's fun. I think Pool A, Pool B is fun. Maybe 3. 3 pools of 4. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Alright. I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna... Oh, yeah, you can make yourself speaker. What's up, Gar?
Can I invite myself in right now?
Yeah?
When we release the public draft sheet, which I assume is gonna be a good, or that's not a good amount of time, but like a week in advance, or something.
2 weeks.
I
Yeah.
would like to host a draft prediction bet.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. That'd be sick. Yeah, actually, if you want to do the reveal with like a mock draft, that'd be sick. Like a draft prediction. That'd be fun.
Yeah, if I guess just like later down the road, send me the sheet and I'll drop an announcement and I'll discuss data. It will have a monetary prize for everyone listening. Out
Oh,
of Gar's pockets.
oh, I'll double it.
You'll double it? Oh shoot, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, wait. Yeah, when we get a draft link finalized and stuff, just let me know and I'll
Okay.
start posting stuff together.
Okay, hell yeah. Yeah, I'll just give you access to it.
Sick. Alright, that's all I want to invite myself over. I love you, Brissy.
Alright, everybody. Thank you for attending.